Hello everybody and welcome. It's a lovely afternoon here in Pennsylvania after this week of rain that we've had. Certainly welcome the sunshine, isn't it? What I'm actually doing right now is I'm in the process of making a few more plaster bats, using a mold and plaster of Paris. It's very useful to have a plaster of Paris thick bat that you can put your clay slops onto, which will help to dry them out so that you can recycle the clay and use it again. Some people throw their clay away. In fact, right in front of me here, I'll just show you. As you can see here, that blue turquoise bin, and all the clay underneath here is all being just given to me because it was thrown away. It seemed more economical not to recycle but just to throw it out and to start with new clay. Well, yeah, there is a point to that in some ways. Recycling clay is labor intensive. Anyway, I don't like doing that. I don't like throwing away my clay just because it needs a bit of work just to bring it back again into condition so I can use it. And what I like to do is make these plaster bats. And you can see over here I've got I've just knocked for myself up a rough, just nailed together a frame. What I do with the frame is I put the frame on a sheet of glass. This is glass here because that gives me at least one side of the bat that is very flat, very nice and flat. So I put it here on the glass. It's quite important though to make sure that the glass is level. Okay, so I've checked this out and it's pretty good. So all right, so then cut out some wire. Okay, a square of wire like that. Now try to get it as flat as you can. Okay, it's not very easy to get it flat, but try and get it so it's, because we're going to put this inside here, you see, like that. Okay, so now down on the floor here I've got a bucket with some water in, which is all ready for me to add the plaster to it. So that's what I'm going to do. Just turn the screen so I can make sure that we're in the picture. So I've got potter's plaster here, and I've got this bucket just over half full of water. And I'm going to pour a bit away because I may have a little too much. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add the plaster to the water. is the right way to do it. You don't want to put the plaster in and stir it up. You just add the plaster to the water. Whoops. Now when it gets to the right point of, how do you know when there's enough plaster? Well, it gets to the right point where the plaster doesn't accept, sorry, the water doesn't accept any more plaster, and the plaster begins to float on the top of the bucket like little islands. By doing it like this, you're not introducing any air into the mixture, and you're ensuring that all of the plaster is wet, saturated. You see little islands beginning to form. Okay, if you look there, you'll see how it's maybe just a little bit more. Anyway, see, it's not taking any more. When it gets to that stage, that's what you want. Okay. So, okay, you can see that there. Right, so I probably now got 10 minutes or so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to agitate that a little bit. But I don't want to introduce any air into it, so I'm just going to very carefully, slowly, just try and get a nice smooth blend. Without too many air bubbles. Just going to go and get something a second. Right. So, let's just focus the camera back here on the table. Maybe we'll move the camera around this side. Just a few things I want you to see. So, there we are. I've got a little bit of clay here because when I pour the plaster in here, it may be tempted to want to run away underneath. So number one, I've got to make sure this is really flat on here. So I've got these bricks, you see, and these are going to keep it absolutely flat. Maybe I'll put them over there so you can see a bit better. No, it's going to have to be like that. So I'm going to take this clay and I'm just going to smear this clay all the way along the bottom here. It does have a tendency to try and run out, you see. Okay, so got my bucket of plaster here. I'm not going to put the gauze, the metal mesh in at the moment. I'm going to put that in It's a messy business. I'm going to take the gauze I don't want the gauze to sink, you see. I want it to stay kind of like that in the middle. More plaster here than I anticipated. I've made too much. More than I intended to. Oh well. C'est la vie. You learn, you see. Next time I won't put quite so much water in the bucket. Okay. Now because I put the clay all around the outside, you see, it stopped the seepage of the plaster. So basically you just want to get that as flat as you can on this top side, but this isn't not the side where I'm going to put the clay. As on the other side that's next to the glass is where the clay is going to go. Right. Now because that may have some air bubbles in it, I've got my sander here, and I'm going to vibrate the side here, which may make the air bubbles come to the surface. Well, you know, when it vibrates, it brings the bubbles to the top here on the back side, which doesn't matter. So we're going to leave that now in here just to go off, and then when it's gone off, I'll separate the wooden frame with a screwdriver on one corner and just peel it off and lift it away. So that's how I make my my plaster bats for drying my clay. I guess I'm practicing though. Probably somebody out there has got a better way of doing it. Okay everybody, thanks for joining me. Keep practicing. See you soon.